Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be with you here tonight to talk about finding food freedom because it has truly been something that has transformed my life, not only in the kitchen, but it's hit so many, almost all areas of my life, which has been really, really powerful for me and really unexpected. So today, I just want to help you heal your relationship with food. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to try to be nice and succinct and give you all of the nuts and bolts because I know so many of you are super busy, so I want to respect that. So here's my promise to you this evening, and that's to show you how to eat healthfully without restrictions, guilt, or shame. And I'm going to get into that later on, but stick with me because if these words resonate with you, restriction, guilt, and shame, please stick with me. I'm going to tell you when to perk your ears up, especially because this is the way our culture kind of tells you to be healthy, like you almost like you need these things in order to be successful in the health and definitely a nutrition world. And it's really just not the case. So right out of the gate, I want to just completely dismantle that. It's just a lie. But I also want to show you how to nourish yourself not only on the plate but off the plate. And I'm really excited to share what that means. And if you stick with me to the end, I have an awesome gift that I'm super excited to share with you. It's again, I love to keep my trainings short and sweet so you can make the most of your time, but also make it super effective. So stay with me to the end, and I will share with you how to get access to that. All right. So a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. So my name is Danny. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of two beautiful children, and I am a certified integrative nutrition health coach. I also facilitate wellness retreats. I create and facilitate them. And I'm really committed to helping working moms with little time for themselves learn how to nourish themselves on and off the plate so they can do my favorite thing that's been my life has been dedicated to over this past year and a half is learning to savor food and life. Stepping away from rushing from one thing to the next and learning to stop, slow down, be really intentional about how you live so that you can savor not only food, but your life as well. And the cool thing about this is that this creates generational health for you and your family. And if you're not a mom out there, please no worries at all. I love to help women in all stages of life with all choices in their life. And I help some men too. But I just I tend to work with a lot of moms because I'm a mom myself. And just on the right, I just wanted to share a little bit of a testimonial just so you guys can see the power behind taking this step. So this is one of my clients shared. After just a few weeks of working with Danielle, I already feel more relaxed and more confident in my relationship with food. That is truly my wish for all of you this evening. I feel more prepared and capable of developing healthy habits with my young family, as Danielle has helped me to develop so much awareness around my story, so big around my stories and my habits, uh, my stories and my triggers with regards to my family meal time. Since becoming aware of this, I have been able to create space for me to step back and encourage my children to listen to their own bodies. So, so big and create their own healthier stories. See how we can create this generational health with food. I'm so excited to be working with Danielle, and I cannot wait to dive deeper as I've already experienced the benefits of these new tools ripple out into my daily life. So I'm not sharing that with you to like toot my own horn. I'm sharing it with you because this client was super committed to this journey, and she was so open and she was so courageous, and I just have the tools to share with her, and that's what I'm really passionate about doing. So I want to share that with you just so you can see what's possible, that actually within a short period of time you can make really, really huge changes in your relationship with food. But as you can see, it can affect so many areas of your life. Okay, so this is for you just to kind of make sure that you guys are looking for the right thing here, and this is not something completely that you're not expecting. So if you want to enjoy food without restrictions, guilt, or shame, as I mentioned before, pay attention if you have a physical reaction to those words, especially in relation to food. That means it's resonating for a reason, so we want to make sure we pay attention and lean in. We want to stop counting calories, points, and macros. If you're really wanting to do that, it's something I highly recommend. Think of how much time you save and redistribute to some other areas of your life that might feel really important. Maybe you're not able to do right now. If you want to break free from cravings and emotional eating, this was such a biggie for me and has been probably the area that I've experienced the most freedom, which has been really empowering. If you want to have more energy and a crystal clear mind, anybody have brain fog out there or just like desperate for more energy? I was definitely there. If you're wanting to become more deeply in touch with your inner cues, this is ultimately the power of intuitive eating. So I'm going to share that. And then I also love to help with simplifying meal planning. And then when you do all of this stuff for yourself, you are then able to show your kids, if you have kids, how to have a healthy relationship with food. And the cool thing about this is that you don't have to do anything special because you're going to become it, you're going to be it, and you're just going to naturally model it without having to think about it because you've gone through the journey yourself. You know what to do. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to my friend, aka the old me. So this is the overwhelmed mom. That's what I call her, the overwhelmed woman. And she is just ready to throw in the towel, as you can see. She has tried every diet and exercise program under the sun. She's experienced some results for sure, but they have not been lasting. And that's the biggest thing here is what I'm going to speak to today is something that once you learn how to do it, it's this beautiful dance that continues. It's a lifelong journey, and you don't need to, you're going to always be kind of leaning into the principles in different ways, but you're not like rigidly following something and then off of it and then back on and then off. Okay, rather than the journey being like, crazy roller coaster, it's more steady, just like that. So on top of that, she's desperately trying to care for herself, but she's working, taking care of her kids or loved ones, whoever it is, and trying to take care of her home and just life in general. So it feels like a lot. And just so you know, if this is you, it's not you, it is a lot. I'll just say that. And this is the really sad part for me. And I have a lot of clients that come to me that feel this way. They're feeling like, okay, well, something must be wrong with me because I look around and I see other moms doing it. I see other women doing it, see other families doing it, whatever it is. But I just can't seem to get it together. And that's how she's feeling. And that can be can create really deep feelings of loneliness, insufficiency, unworthiness, all those things that can become dangerous, and they can snowball into other areas. They do snowball into other areas of life. Okay, so in a nutshell, she's feeling tired, overwhelmed, scatterbrained, stressed. She's feeling kind of hopeless, and she's just feeling like she's ready to give up. And so all of these things are me, just so you know, all or most, I should say, were me a few years ago. And what I will tell you is that none of these resonate with me anymore. And so I hope that that just gives you some hope that things can be different and there's a better way that doesn't involve counting and, counting calories and macros and rigid routines with, at the gym and all that sort of stuff. There is a different and better way. And so the overwhelmed mom, she wants to be the joyful mom. So this is the joyful mom. She feels balanced in her life. How many of you have been asking and wanting balance? Okay. Actually, can you type in a 3 in the chat if that's something that you've been wanting? You just feel like you need more balance in your life. Just type a number 3 in the chat. Or if you're watching this back, you can type a 3 in the comments. I see the chat lighting up, so I know that it's resonating. So this joyful mom, and this is truly my hope for every single woman in this world, is that you love your body just as it is. It doesn't mean that you don't want to do things to, help improve your health or whatever, but I want you to be able to love your body just as it is right now. I won't get into beauty, social constructs around beauty right now. That's a whole other topic, but it's something I'm really passionate about. She feels strong and energetic. She has a clear mind. How many of us want that? She has unshakable confidence at every size. She's crystal clear about where she's going and what she has to do. I talk to so many women who they just feel so overwhelmed that they don't even know. It got to the point that they don't actually know what's important to them in their lives. So many women that I talk to, they don't even know what they enjoy doing anymore. They don't know what their favorite music is. They don't know what's a priority to them because life has just kind of taken them, it's like a snowball. It's that snowball effect. And then the joyful mom is also a really inspiring role model to either her kids, her family, whatever she's doing in her work, her friends. And this, my friends, is how we change the world, is when we have women who are just on fire, who are lit up, who are alive, living so vibrantly and healthfully. That's what changes the world because we're just so naturally caring as women and we're very influential as women as well. And so in a nutshell, what she's learned and applied is intuitive eating. I call my system peaceful eating, and it's basically intuitive eating combined with a few other elements that I've just found to be extremely powerful, like healing historical eating, emotional eating, and a few other things. So I'm going to dive right into the nuts and bolts. This is the nuts and bolts section. So perk your ears up right now. Okay. I'm going to give you the three of, I don't want to say they're the most important, but these are the first three elements that I address with most of my clients with intuitive eating. So I'm going to give these three to you today. There's 10 principles altogether. And then, like I said, I have elements of my other trainings that I add into how I work with my clients that makes it just extremely powerful. So I'm going to share three with you today, and then I'll let you know if you want to hear more how you can do that. So the first one is to reject the diet mentality. And I'm going to give you the definition of diet here in regards to like in cultural context. Cultural context. So a diet is a regimen of eating and drinking sparingly so as to reduce one's weight. Here's the thing I want to say here is that a lot of people don't want to admit that they're dieting, and a lot of people don't know that they're dieting, okay? But if you are trying to control your eating or drinking in any way that's not related to your inner cues, you're taking external cues to feed and nourish your body, that is a diet, okay? There's a lot of things out there that are trying to make these systems feel like they're not a diet. For example, my personal favorite, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. I'm going to get into that later. But there's something called pseudo dieting where a lot of people are dieting without knowing it. So I'll go into that a little bit. So I have a question for you. How many diets have you been on in your life? So, like I said, take the idea of taking external cues, somebody else telling you what you should eat, some program or whatever it is. How many diets have you been on? If you feel brave, you can share that in the chat or in the comments. And then following up with that, how many of them have worked? So how many diets have you been on and how many of them have worked? And I'm just going to add a little side note that if you are starting again, I hear people very often, oh, I'm going to start Weight Watchers again, or I'm going to start keto again, whatever it is. If you're starting again, that means it's not working, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. So I mentioned about it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And what I like to say is it's not a lifestyle, it's a way of being. One, I had a mentor that I worked with a few years ago, and he said something that just resonated so deeply with me. He said, most of us, we set goals and we ask ourselves the wrong question. We ask ourselves, what do I need to do? And he said, the question we should be asking ourselves is, who do we want to be? Who do I want to be? And that was a huge game changer for me. And that's what I love about intuitive eating is it's a way of being. It's not about, oh, I eat only whole foods or whatever it is. It's who do I want to be? Who am I stepping into? How in touch can I get with my inner cues and live from that place rather than taking, having a certain formula of what works for me. There's nothing wrong with having a routine and habits that work for you, but there has to be flexibility in that, and it has to come from a place of deep listening, following intuition. And I like to say it's a dance. So it's not always going to be the same. It's not going to be very methodical. You're going to have certain things that work for you, and then those are going to have to change depending where you are in your life, depending what your day is. If you're a woman that's still menstruating, there's a huge piece of it that has to do with your cycle. I actually train a lot on that, which is extremely powerful, and I highly recommend looking into. If you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, this will completely change that around for you. And so I was talking about this earlier about the pseudo dieting and just not even being aware that you're on a diet. So anything that's telling you not to eat certain foods or it's telling you what portions to eat is a diet by the definition above. So it's just something to kind of have your just kind of perk up about and listen for and watch out for. because, like I said, it's something that often flies under the radar. And if we don't have awareness, we can't change it. So that's just something to kind of keep a heads up about. Okay. Um, so yeah, first things first is to create that awareness. If we can see, I call it the threat, not to be dramatic, but like if we can see the threat and name the threat. And that's really, I do see the diet mentality as a threat. But if we can see it, then we can consciously say no to it. Okay. And this part can be really hard for people rejecting the diet mentality, especially because it's so integrated into our culture. We have messaging everywhere. So it can feel really scary. But if you hold on to any sort of hope about dieting, and I help my clients through this, and I think that's the power of coaching, right? Is that I can guide them through it and encourage them and, let them know, okay, this is why we're doing this, or this is why we're not doing this. Um, if you hold on to that hope and you keep, and I'm going to talk about the scale in a second, but it actually prevents you from being able to really tap in deeply to the benefits of intuitive eating. I'm just going to check the chat quickly. Yeah, it's like, I'm telling you, it's funny because when I talk to people about like intuitive eating and listening to those inner cues, they often look at me like I've arrived on a UFO. But it's so cool because I see my clients make that switch and they're like, yeah, like I really get it. It really is something that's hard to explain. But I'll give an example to you. I now can, I started teaching a little bit recently, and it's really tricky for me because I now am so in touch with my body that I can be like, I know exactly what I want for lunch. I'll kind of weigh a couple of options. Do I want an egg and toast? Do I want some leftovers from yesterday? Do I want to make, an omelet or whatever, right? I can like a salad, soup, whatever it is. I like can go through that checklist and I'm like, I know that this is what my body needs in this moment, right? So it can actually get to that point once you practice. And it's really, really cool. I've had clients message me. One of my clients messaged me. She said, I just had chili for breakfast. And I was thinking of you. And I said, okay, and how did you feel afterwards? She said, I felt amazing. It was like the best thing for me for that day. I felt full. She was having a hard time with like listening to her body and honoring her hunger. I felt full for the day. I felt completely nourished and ready to take on the day. And that's what happens. It's like, why can't you eat chili in the morning? People tell you you're supposed to eat certain breakfast foods. I've had pad thai, my homemade pad thai in the morning, and felt amazing because that's what my body needed. So, not that that happens all the time, but it's just kind of an interesting story to share about that. So, and I think the biggest thing about this diet mentality, number one, there's short-lived success. And so it's a really quick way to short circuit a healthy relationship with food. And it often makes this mentality often makes women just like yourself think that there's something wrong with them every time the diet fails. It's not you that's failing, it's the diet. You actually can't fail in intuitive eating because anytime you would do something that feels like a failure, that's information, that's feedback. Changing that perspective alone is a complete game changer. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why I did that. So, oh, that's interesting. Every Friday, I come home and have a whole bag of chips and a full bottle of wine. That's interesting. I'm lacking nourishment in another area of my life. Maybe you're not celebrating yourself, so you're lacking reward. Maybe you're not caring for yourself at all, and that's the way that you show yourself self care. See how when we create that awareness, we can then lean in and use tools outside of food to nourish those areas of our lives. Okay. So that's rejecting the diet mentality. The next one I'm going to share with you is breaking up the scale. By the way, if you guys are joining live, please feel free to type a question in at any point and I will either answer it in the moment or I'll go back and answer it at the end. And if you're watching this back and you have questions, please do the same in the comments. So, breaking up with the scale is something that a lot of people find scary because we're taught in our culture that that's basically how you measure your success in health, right? If the number on the scale is where I want it to be, then I'm successful. So, here's my question for you. I'm going to challenge this belief. If you were in the best shape of your life, would the number on the scale matter? So I love using the example, like I always use CrossFit. So say you joined a CrossFit gym, you got in like the best shape of your life. You were like super toned, like whatever it is that your goal is, you hit it. And then say you were 160 pounds, okay, just as an example. Say you're 160 pounds before that, then you go and you do this, you work out for a year, 2 years, whatever it is, you get to this like ultimate body image that you were looking for, and you still weigh 160 pounds, or maybe you weigh 175 pounds, maybe you put on weight. If you were in the best shape of your life, would the number on the scale matter? And the answer is no, or at least it should be, right? Because it's really, the number is very arbitrary. They've actually shown, there's been so much research done to show that actually the number on the scale is really by no means the best way to assess health. There's other things that they recommend. For example, one is the measurement of your waist in relation to your hips. That's one thing that they say is a much more accurate assessment of health, and there's things to do that are related to like cardio health and stuff like that with that. So I just find this to be a really powerful question, and I wanted to share that with you. And I'm just going to check this chat really quickly. Okay, Lauren, I'm going to come back to that question. That's a really good question. I'll come back to that. Okay, so another question for you. If you were in, oh, whoops, sorry guys, I copied that twice. Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to lose weight? I know so many of you that are going to be watching this, that's your number one goal, to lose weight. And that's because that's what our culture tells us to do, especially as women. It's like they actually say that girls, the average age that girls start, well, maybe it's not the average age, but the earliest that girls start to want to lose weight is 6. My daughter's 5, and that is like so incredibly upsetting to me. Like, we are literally raised to feel like there's something wrong with us, and like it just becomes part of our life goal. It's just like a normal thing, do well in school, do well in sports, like whatever it is, and lose weight. Like, it just has become this normal thing, and it really does not and should not be that way. So I always ask, there's nothing wrong with wanting to lose weight, and I don't want to like make anybody feel bad for that. But what I actually want to help you do is go deeper, and let's get to the root of why you want to lose weight. Because if you just want to lose weight, there's not enough passion and power behind that to make you get up and do the activities that you need to do in order to make that happen. And if you just have a number that you're aiming for, you're really not setting yourself up for success, because your window for success is very small. Either you hit that weight or not. But what if we could dig deeper and find out the reasons why you want to lose weight? Is it to have more energy? Is it to feel more confident, to feel like amazing in your clothes? Is it to be more patient and more positive because you've got more energy, because you're able to rest more, because you're taking care of yourself? Is it to relieve stress, like working out and being like at a healthy size for myself, or just in a healthy lifestyle, is what makes me like, I feel when I'm working out regularly, I feel like I don't like, it really helps me with stress. It helps me to be more positive and more patient. Maybe you want to improve your health so you can be around for a really long time to play with your grandchildren and your great grandchildren. I have a grandfather that's 95, and it's really cool because he has a relationship with my kids. So he's involved, he lives on his own, he takes care of himself, and he's a very involved great grandfather, which is super cool. So I just want to, this is kind of who I'm imagining, is this woman who wants more joy in her life, more energy, better sleep, to play with the kids, or to just spend time with the people in her life that are really important to her, to feel more positive, to be more patient, and to be self-confident. And that's just naming a few of these, right? And so really what I like to lean into, and I apologize, I can see this typo as I'm looking at this, instead of using your time counting calories, points, macros, whatever it is that you're doing, what if you could use that time to get really clear on why you want to improve your health, and then you went after those things? That was a game changer for me. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally, Lauren. Okay, so there was something else I was going to share here. Oh, so that's what happened to me, is that, so for example, I used to force myself out of bed to work out, and it was really pretty much shame induced. It's like, you need to do this to have your body look a certain way, or you should be doing this. Like, I would should, right? And it was hard. Like, it felt painful to do it. And now it is honestly so easy for me to pop out of bed, because I've become so clear with what it is I'm after and what that exercise does for me. So even this morning, I didn't have as much time to work out as I usually do. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do 20 minutes or I'll do 15 minutes. The other day, I did 5 minutes because I didn't have very much time. And because I feel so energetic when I work out in the morning, I am so much more positive. I'm so much more patient. Like my day is completely different when I do that for myself. And so I've become so in touch with what these things do for me that it makes it so much easier to pop out of bed because when I'm lying there, I'm like, no, I don't want to be crabby and tired today. I want to be energetic. I want to be positive. So if you can answer that question as to why you want to lose weight, why you want to, improve blood, like whatever it is that you're going for, if you can even ask yourself why 7 times, you're going to be like exponentially more likely to be successful. Okay. So take that question back with you because I think it's going to be super helpful for you. Okay. And the third thing, I'm just going to take a quick drink. So the third element I'm going to share with you is making peace with food. And this is what like basically what my goal is in my coaching and everything I do on social media and everyone that I talk to is making peace with food. And so here's something that feels really scary for people is giving yourself unconditional permission to eat. Okay? So I'm going to give an example here. This is one of my favorite examples to use. So there's a very common belief in our culture, the messaging is very clear, is that you need to restrict yourself. I've heard people say, I heard someone the other day, if you want to be healthy, you're going to be hungry. Like, that's just the way it is. When I'm hungry, I eat. Okay. Like, this is where I've been able to get to. And I've coached many people up to this point. So just to say, I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody or anything like that I'm just trying to say that there is a different way that's possible. So you don't have to just accept being hungry or accept never being able to eat the food that you want if you want to be healthy. That is a myth. It is absolutely not true. And I'm going to share with you why restrictions don't work. So here's a picture of a pink elephant. Now I'm going to ask you, please don't think about the pink elephant. Don't think about the pink elephant. Don't think about the pink elephant. Okay? But you're going to think about the pink elephant because our brain does not hear yes or no. It just hears pink elephant. So say you tell yourself, I can't, no pizza, no pizza. I can't have pizza, don't have pizza, no cake, no cake. Your brain does not hear no cake or no pizza. It hears pizza, 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 cake, cake, cake. And so you're actually making yourself think of it more than necessary. You're actually focusing on that. Okay. And actually, I wish I printed out a picture of the other thing. But if I said to you, actually, I'm going to go back here. If I said to you, think about a purple rhinoceros. Think about a purple rhinoceros. If I took your attention and shifted it elsewhere, think about a purple rhinoceros. You could forget about the pink elephant because you're not thinking about it. You're shifting your focus elsewhere. Okay. And that's in a nutshell why restrictions don't work. And they often result in, we actually call it Last Supper, the Last Supper effect. In that what happens is before people start a diet or they've been on a diet for a bit and it's like you've told yourself you can't have all of these things, so then you end up having this big binge on whatever it is, the multiple items. You have the cookie, the cake, the pizza all in one night, the ice cream all in one night, because what's happening is that your body does not trust you. Your mind and your body doesn't trust you that those foods are going to be available later on. So it feels like it has to get as much in as possible because it doesn't think it's going to get access to that again. So do you see? It's kind of like a teenager who's not allowed to do anything and they get one night of freedom and they go crazy because they feel like they've got to do everything in one night, right? So that's why these restrictions don't work and why we need to lean into giving ourselves unconditional permission to eat food, because guess what? It becomes way less alluring. And there's a whole bunch of other methods that I use in this and techniques that I use to be able to heal people through this journey, because there's actually a lot of historical elements that need to be healed as well. But just to kind of give you that in a nutshell. And so making peace with food looks like eating whatever appeals to you, not restricting the food that you like. Okay. I really don't think anybody should not be eating pizza. Like, pizza is just too good. Can you tell that I love pizza? We make our own at home almost every Friday, and it's so good. Um, to not feel guilty when you occasionally overeat. This is like actually really great feedback for your body. Oh, that was too much. Okay. Just learning what those cues are and learning more and more. Okay, this is kind of where when I pass this threshold, when I get to this, it's learning to kind of lower that threshold until you don't get to that overeating spot anymore. Being ready for new discoveries. And so, what I want to share with this is that when you give yourself this unconditional permission to eat what appeals to you, what you like, to overeat if it happens and learn from it, you'll find these really amazing discoveries. So often you'll find that the food that you've been craving and that you like just can't stop thinking about, like those French fries or like the poutine that you wanted, you're gonna find that it actually doesn't taste as good as you think it does, which is so cool because you're able to get rid of all of those emotional elements and just see the food for what it is. And that's been so powerful for me in my life. Like, for example, there's certain types of pizza. I'm a bit of a pizza snob. I'm just gonna tell you guys there's certain types of pizza that it's like, that was not good. And I don't enjoy that. So I actually don't want that, right? Or, any sort of food can feel like that for me. Or if I realized that my body was not cueing that, it really is not enjoyable anymore, right? Like I could easily have a whole bunch of vegetables at night, after dinner, after my kids go to bed around 8 o'clock, and feel super, super nourished and even treated, and to say no to chips because that's not what my body needed in that moment. But I can also have some chips and feel super, super nourished and great because that's what my body wanted and needed, and not the vegetables in that moment. And the biggest thing that I want to share is that peace with food means freedom. This truly affects so many areas of your life. Food is integrated in almost every situation in our lives. It's a huge part of connection. It affects the way that we work. Everything is integrated when we're super busy. That affects our food. It affects how the food that we intake. If we're feeling guilty, we have to like work around that. We don't want anybody to see us eating takeout, or we're trying to, it really affects every area of our life. So if you can make peace with food, you will truly experience the most amazing feeling of freedom. And that's really what I get super excited about. So you may be asking, how do I make a change? I just want to make sure that there's no more questions right now. Okay, awesome. So how do I make a change? This is my dog. She was peeking through the railings there. Okay, and so my biggest thing is investing in yourself. I was actually watching this video this morning and I shared it in my stories on Instagram. So if you follow me, check it out because it was talking about how women, especially married women, actually have a shorter life expectancy than their male counterparts because they're so inclined to care for like they take on all of the extra responsibilities and they're so busy caring for everyone else that they don't put as much time and care into themselves as they could or they should or as is necessary for longevity. And so I'm very big on investing in yourself. And this can look like so many different things. It can look like investing time by, reading books or investing time and energy into doing some movement that feels good for you, investing time and money into nutritional food and, making that in the kitchen. It can look like investing in relationships that bring you connection and bring you joy in your life. For me, like a huge piece of investing in myself is like diving really deep into the Bible and connecting with people who are of the same faith with me, and just really investing in that part of my life nourishes me on just the most amazing level, doing worship and stuff like that. So, but when you invest in yourself, there's a couple elements to it. So number one, you have to make a commitment. So decide what's important to you and commit to it. Don't try to do like 50 different complicated things. Just start with one. Pick one thing that feels really important and figure out what it is that you can do that's actually achievable in your current life circumstances. So for example, say you pick exercise, people will often have an all or nothing attitude, like, oh, I can't do an hour, 4 times a week, so I'm just not going to do it. But what if you did 5 minutes a day? Like if that's all you can do, that would make a huge impact on your life if you could do 5 minutes every single day. Okay. Second element is set yourself up for success. So that's kind of what I was just talking about. Don't tell yourself you're going to do something that is not realistic in your lifestyle. It's way better to do a tiny bit consistently than it is to try to do this huge amount, I know so many people who like try to work out for an hour and a half, ends up happening once a month, right? Even once a week is not as good as doing it every day. Find a way to have accountability. This is huge, huge, huge. Even if you hold yourself accountable, it can be really great to get external support. I use timers and my phone on my calendar, which is super powerful for accountability. And then if you can be really realistic with yourself, maybe you need to get support, right? Maybe that looks like a trainer at the gym. Maybe that looks like joining a group, or maybe that looks like hiring a health coach like me. And I'm going to kind of share with you if that's the option that you're considering. I'm just going to share really briefly with you what that would look like. And so this is a question that I ask very often. Do you want to make massive breakthroughs right now with eating, with body confidence, with just your life in general, if it's kind of feeling out of control, if you're feeling completely overwhelmed? Are you ready to make some big breakthroughs? Like, are you at that point? Because timing's a big thing, right? And then not where do you want to be in 6 months, but who do you want to be? If you were to imagine your ideal future self, what would she look like? I love looking at people that I admire and look up to, kind of take bits and pieces of them and put that into like a little avatar of me in the future. I actually do this really powerful meditation with like a visualization exercise with my clients about this. It's really cool, really powerful. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you really briefly what I offer. So I offer a program called the Holistic Health Launchpad. I've poured my heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears into this. And basically it's one-on-one coaching with access to online modules. So there's 12 50-minute private coaching sessions. They happen bi-weekly. And then you get access to these modules that are going to teach you all of these elements. They're really short and succinct. Like they're to the point, and they give you opportunities to apply. That's the biggest thing. And they're really just used as a support for the calls, so that we can spend the time on the calls digging deep and addressing like specific breakthroughs, or me bringing you through different things, whether it's a visualization, whether it's breath work, whether it's whatever, right? You also get customized resources. I love giving customized resources to my clients. So whether that looks like meal ideas, like I said, I'll actually make meditations and visualizations and record them for my clients specifically for them and where they are in their journey. It might be certain articles or videos that apply to where they are in their journey, quotes, stuff like that. I give session notes, which are super, super powerful. Love those. Nothing like reading what you said word for word, just like when someone talks something back to you and you're like, oh, huge revelations happen there. And then I have a private community that you get access to as well. And then for this specific Finding Food Freedom webinar, I'm offering a bonus, and I'm going to leave that open for a week. So next Thursday it'll close. So it's a bonus coaching call, the 15 minutes, so it's the 13th. And then I have been doing these personalized affirmations for my clients, and I'm loving doing them. And so I'm actually going to offer them to you as well. I do this for myself every morning. I recorded it and I listen to it, and it's like an amazing way to start the day. Okay, so this is, if you guys have your phone and you want to even just hear more about this, you can just scan this QR code and it'll bring you to my Calendly link, and you can just book a discovery call. And then that way you can see if you have questions, you can ask questions, you can see if it's the right fit. This is also an opportunity for me to see if it's the right fit, because we want to make sure that that's all going together nicely and it's the right timing and we're, the right fit together, so that you can get the best out of your experience and make sure that I have the right tools for you, right? Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to share this free gift. So if you're on this live, you're automatically going to get this. You don't need to do anything. If you're watching this back, you just either need to comment below or just send me an email that says mindful eating, and I will send you this resource. Okay. This is like, I think it's a 5-minute video, and then I have a cheat sheet resource. And this is often where I start with my clients, is honoring your hunger and mindful eating. And it's really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? It really exposes so many things around your relationship with food. So I really recommend you have a look at this resource because you're going to be like having a lot of aha moments. This is a great starting point for like the application process of intuitive eating. And then I just want to share one more testimonial with you. So, this is one of my lovely, lovely clients, and she just finished her 6 month program. She said, the biggest tangible change I've noticed since beginning the program is that I have gotten in touch with my body's signals, urges, and rhythms, which has allowed me to hit the pause button on numbing. Yeah, that was such a big thing and very, very common, the numbing with food, especially. Within that pause, space has been made to invite healthier choices and those that allow my body and mind to thrive. So this process, the healing and the transformation of this client has been absolutely incredible. I just get really excited to share that with her. We also talked a lot about cycle syncing with her, which was just like it was really cool to watch her through that process. So I'm just gonna leave this slide up so that you guys can grab that QR code. If you can't access it, just let me know. I'll send you the link directly. All of this will be in the follow up. You'll get a couple of follow up emails with some resources and just like some prompts or reminders. Thank you guys so, so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you have a lovely day, night, whatever time of day it is for you.